Welcome back to Rolls and Rockets Planescape Torment, Ep.5. Okay, let's just begin with talking to this harlot. You see a tired-looking woman dressed in a tight leather bodice and leggings. The odor of cheap perfume surrounds her like a cloud, and her face is covered with a mask of crude makeup. She smiles as she sees you. "Why don't you stay and chat with me a bit, love?" "Greetings." The woman looks coyly at you. "Now ye look to be a blood who's lost something. Mayhap I can help you find it, Cutter." She smiles slightly. "Oh? What good fortune. We probably lost what we were looking for back at your kit, miss." "Actually, I'm missing a journal." "Eh?" She seems confused. "What are ye about?" I had some other questions. "I can pay you how much?" 10 coppers. Other questions of a deeper chant will cost you more. "Sounds fair. Here's 10 commons." Aye then, she slips the jink into her palm, where it promptly vanishes. "Now, there were some things I wanted to know." "Ask your questions, love. Can you tell me about the city?" Her eyes narrow suspiciously. "The city? What about it?" "What is it?" "What sigil you mean?" She shrugs, looks around. "It's the city beneath your feet and rising to either side of ye." She smiles. "Makes visitors' stomachs gallop, it does." "Where exactly is Sigil?" "Center of the plains to hear it told," she snorts. "If you believe that wash." "Why is it wash?" She smirks. "Well, love, now, according to the graybeards and scholars and governors and all the rest of them rattling the brain boxes, they say the plains go on forever." She taps her head. "Who's to say where the center is?" I had some other questions. "What can you tell me about the Lady at Pain?" She spits and makes a half circle around her heart. "That bladed witch, all high and mighty, mistress of all the city, floating and silent. She kills anyone in her shadow. She tends the city, aye," she hisses, "and leaves the living things in it to rot." Fine, that's some other questions. "I'm looking for someone named Farod." "Farod? Now, that's one of the greater darks, love. If ye be wanting to know about that blood, it'll be thrice the coppers of a normal asking." Forget it. Ask some other questions. Not worth it. Never mind. "You're lost. When you're tired of losing things and need to find some things, love, you come see me." I'll keep that in mind. Farewell. "Chief, can you sport me some jink? It's been a long time, it has." "Oh, well, I suppose it can't hurt." The woman breaks in. "It's twice the cost for your mimir or any other degenerate." "Don't sweat it, Mort. From the looks of her, I'm probably saving you from dying twice." "May a pox shrivel your innards! You have the stinking fashion sense of a goat herd, and you're twice as ugly."
New taunts, all right.
Mort stares, hypnotized, as the harlot lets loose a stream of obscenities. At the end of the verbal avalanche, Mort is silent for a moment, then turns to you. "Wow, Chief, got a few more taunts for the old arsenal." He turns back to the harlot, who is catching her breath. "Also, I'm in love." Leave. Alright, let's check out the dusty dust bar.
Chief, what are we doing in here? Let's say we just give this place the laugh, all right?
Okay, Mort. Yeah, we'll give this place the laugh. Just let me give a little chitty chatty to some of these folks. As you approach, the elderly woman turns and stares at you. "La, look who's come a calling on Seer today. Death's dearest son." She looks you up and down, then shakes her head in disbelief. "By every power in its mother, boy, what crypt did you crawl out of?" "I didn't crawl out of any crypt." She frowns, her face wrinkling like crumpled parchment. "Right, then. What coffin did you crawl out of?" She mumbles. "One of those shoddy splint coffins at Hambris is most like. Gives corpses splinters, I hear." She sniffs. "That boy's not been worth the clipped copper since her father died." I didn't crawl out of a coffin. I'm fresh from the mortuary, actually. That's so. Seer raises an eyebrow. Warms me ears to hear you gave that place the laugh, boy. Not much of a watering hole for one who isn't relieving themselves, she sniffs. Tch, too many cobwebs and dusty minds. You don't like the mortuary? Aren't you a dustman? A dustman, I suppose. Seer sniffs. Tish, I've seen enough sand pass through the hourglass while wearing these robes. This body's almost ready to pay the ferryman. She chuckles, but there's not much mirth in it. Are you afraid of dying? Course I am, boy. Who isn't? She frowns and glances around. Well, except Dustmen. They're not afraid because they've been swallowing so much of their own bat droppings over the decades they've blinded themselves into thinking that death is some kind of release. Tch. It is a release of a sort. If you think this life is a burden, boy, then perhaps I'm not convinced of that. So what sparked this crisis of faith? She shrugs. Life, I suppose. She frowns. Ha, never you mind. I won't bore you with the niggling details. I'd like to know, actually. Oh, would you? She looks at you skeptically. Tch, how old do you take me for, boy? Old. She snorts. Well, you're wrong. I'm really old. Now, I've spent most of my long years teaching dustmen. I've seen many dustmen whelps grow within our order. Taught them the ways of the faction, kept the faith, preached the tenets of the faction. She frowns. And so on and so on. No questions, no doubt. This life was merely an antechamber that led to the true death. What happened? Well, a half month back, I went sick with the fever. She sighs. I thought it was the end. It rattled my cage. How? Her face becomes a stone. There's something about having your faction members circle around your deathbed like a pack of pale-faced ghouls, nodding and agreeing that your suffering and dying is all for the best. Oh, Seer is so fortunate. She shall soon be relieved of the burden of life. Burden of life? That's when it struck me. That there's something. A queer expression comes over her features. Addled about not appreciating your life. The dustman keeps saying that life is misery and suffering. Is it? That we should be happy to pass on into oblivion? Should we? She shakes her head. Questions, questions, and precious few answers. It doesn't sound like you believe in the dustman philosophy anymore. I suppose I have got a swarm of doubts all buzzing in my skull. She rubs her temples. Hard to get them all to be quiet sometimes. They need to be fed some answers, and I haven't got them all worked out yet. What will you do? To be square, boy, I don't know. Seer sighs. That's the problem with doubt. Can't even trust that what I'm feeling is true, or if I'm scared of death only because of my brush with the fever. Or even what I should do. Is this a passing thing? I do not know. Let's see here. Seer, if you had truly believed in the Dustman philosophy, then your brush with the fever would not have left you with such doubts. 500 XP. Seer stares at you, then nods slowly. Maybe so. Maybe so. She frowns, her face wrinkling up in concentration. I'll have to chew it over some more. You should. It's no small matter. La now. Enough of me rattling on about my woes. Seer stares at your scars. You look like you've shared a few handshakes with death yourself. Hasn't that changed your views somewhat? Doesn't it make you appreciate life a bit more? Well, my condition is unique. I woke up in the mortuary. I think they mistook me for a corpse, and they were prepared to bury me. The strange thing is, I think I actually had died and got better. Seer blinks. You're rattling my coffin. It's true. Strange are the ways of the plains, and I've seen too much to throw any tale out with the wash. She studies your face. If it's true, why does this happen? I don't know. Oh, crap. Didn't mean to do that one. Here we go. All I know is I woke up in the mortuary with no memory and covered with enough wounds to kill me 3 times over. Now, don't be saying that too loud. She glances around. Most peculiar. Never heard of anything like that. Shame about the memories. Do you have any idea why this happens? Nay, not a one. Never knew anyone who death wouldn't take, until now. Other questions? Can you tell me about Hamrus? Hamrus is a coffin breaker, pardon, coffin maker in the lower ward. Inherited the shop when his father died, much to the shame of every corpse needing a coffin, crypt, or tombstone and sigil. What happened to his father? Those ears just for show, boy, he died, she mumbles. His son talked him to death, most likely. That boy's tongue doesn't stop rattling. I'm surprised he doesn't shake his head from his shoulders. One second. Oh, went too far. For some reason, I thought that I might have read that part already. No. No, I didn't. I played this before, but I was like, wait, did I already read that part? No, I didn't. You two sound like you have a lot in common then. She narrows her eyes. Do us both a favor and latch that bone box of yours, boy. Don't be drawing comments between me and that yapping whelp. Very well, I had some questions. Yeah, that was rude. Have you seen a journal recently? I'm missing mine. What does it look like? No idea. If you don't know what it looks like, how do you expect to find it? I'm beginning to wonder that myself. I had some other questions. I am searching for a man named Farrod. Have you seen him? Seer's face crumples into a frown. That dog. He's the worst of the collector lot. I heard he has his kip set up somewhere in Ragpicker Square, many streets west of the mortuary gate. Dangerous place, though. Some of those collectors aren't patient enough to wait for folks to die so they can sell them for jink. Collectors? They're vermin that scavenge the bowels of the hive for bodies to sell them to the Dustmen. Make a living off the dead. A motley breed. Makes you ashamed to share the same city with them. At least they keep the streets clean. Oh, I had some other questions. Questions, eh? Well, you can ask. Seer looks you over with a steely eye and smiles. Crypt crawler. Farewell. More Gravesend. This tiny, wizened man is dwarfed by his huge Dustman robes. They look as if they were chosen to cloak his small stature. Although he looks to be in his late 90s, this man is extremely energetic. He fidgets continuously, and his eyes dart around the bar like a bird's. Greetings. The man's eyes gleam as he takes your measure, and he gives a slight nod in greeting. Hail and well met, traveler. You look like one who is just getting their sigil legs about them. He trails off. Pardon me, have we met before? Your face seems familiar somehow. Possibly. Are you certain it was me? Maybe I was mistaken. Mortai shakes his head. Well, no matter, no matter. How is it that Mortai Gravesend may help you? Do you seek... He clucks his tongue as he speaks. The contract? Perhaps. Contract? The contract? Why, it is but a simple transaction. From the depths of his huge robe, Mortai pulls forth a dusty parchment and a quill pen. I give you 50 commons in return. After death, the Dustman faction may claim your remains. He smiles, then clucks his tongue. What use will you have for them at that point anyway? Not interested, thanks. I did have some questions, though. Of course, Mortai nods. It would be my pleasure to answer any questions you may have. Are you the one that signed that debt contract with Engyar? Mortai frowns. He looks puzzled. Mayhap. He thinks for a moment. I do not recall the name, however. I would like to settle that contract. Mortai looks wary. I'm afraid that is impossible. The contract is signed, settled, and binding. The contract is tearing the man's life apart. It is causing him distress. It is possible that he may not even be able to approach the true death with such emotions churning in his mind. Mortai chews it over for a moment. It looks like you've negotiated him into a corner. I cannot. It is a matter of law, my friend. Besides, the burden lies upon the signer to overcome his own feelings in order to reach the true death. I cannot. So what you're saying is that you'll deny him the true death for the sake of a piece of parchment? Mortai sighs and holds up his hands as if to placate you. Look, it is not how you're making it out to be. You obviously hold the philosophy of the Dustmen in contempt to damn a man's soul over a piece of paper. Do other members of your faction know of your conduct in this regard? If not, they soon will. Mortai glares at you for a moment, opens his mouth, closes it, then opens it. By the nine hells, wait here. He drops his voice to a whisper. And keep your bone box latched. He gives an angry scowl and stomps off. A few seconds later, he returns. He is holding a dusty piece of parchment, which he gives to you. Here! He sniffs disdainfully. All for a man's peace of mind. Now be gone and nettle me with your preachings no longer. I will leave for now. Farewell, Mortai. I'm back. Mortai. Mortai frowns as you approach, clucking his tongue. You again. Have you come to make me surrender more contracts in the name of the Dustman faction? He frowns and sighs. Well, no matter. The past is past. He regains his old smile and nods. What is it I may do for you? I had some questions for you. Of course. Have you seen a journal recently? I'm missing mine. Mortai shakes his head. I know nothing about a journal. Smiles. I deal with documentation of a much different sort. Other questions? I am searching for a man named Farod. Have you seen him? Mortai frowns. He's one of the collectors, isn't he? I know little of him. I think Initiate Emmerich mentioned him in passing. Mortai glances around. Emmerich should be around here in the boss somewhere. He can usually be found in the far corner of the head table, I believe. Oh, I had some other questions. Of course. Okay. Mortai nods as he turns to leave. He has a strange expression on his face. Is there something wrong? Mortai frowns. Forgive me, I must ask again. Are you sure we haven't met before? No, I don't believe so. Mortai shakes his head. Well, no matter. Farewell. Yes, farewell. Mortai studies you as you leave, and you hear him mutter under his breath, something about that one. Maybe it'll distract him if I just go ahead and sign the contract. Is this a little bit different? Traveler! Mortai smiles as he sees you. We meet again! And how may I help you on this fine Sigillian day? He looks hopeful. Come, to sign the contract, perhaps? Contract? 50 coppers for my corpse? Very well, I'll sign. Excellent! Mortai looks overjoyed. With a thin smile, he places a dusty sheet of parchment in the quill pen in front of you. You shall not regret it. He jabs his finger at 3 points on the paper. Sign here, and here, and our transaction is concluded. You know, you show more emotion than other dustmen I've met. Mortai's smile turns cold. I trust you meant no offense, sir. I meant no offense, but you seem awfully eager to sign this contract with me. And for a dustman, eagerness strikes me as odd. Eager? Mortai arches his eyebrows, then coughs politely. Sir, do you wish to sign the contract or not? If not... Is there a problem with showing emotion? Oh my, yes! Mortai frowns. Too much passion, too much emotion prevents one from reaching the true death. To be passionate runs contrary to the philosophy of our faction. True death. The true death is the state of peaceful oblivion all dustmen aspire to, and help all others reach. He clucks disapprovingly. Anything that ties a soul to this life is shunned by our faction, whether these ties are possessions or emotions. You see, passions act as an anchor on the soul, preventing it from reaching the true death. He shakes his head. Very bad, very bad. I'd like to sign that contract you mentioned. Sign there and there and there. 500 XP. Okay, well, I'm fine with that. You take the quill in your hand and you begin to scratch your signature into the parchment. The quill pen makes a strange scritching noise as it touches the parchment like a dagger writing on steel. Continue signing. As you try to sign the parchment, however, you notice that it seems to be shifting beneath your pen. No matter how hard you try, you can't seem to sign your name. The contract seems to twist from being a dusty piece of parchment to something alive. Mortai, what's with this contract? When you glance up to speak to Mortai, you see that his face has been replaced with that of a grinning skull. The rest of the bar seems to stop, the patrons falling silent, freezing like statues. Mortai opens his mouth, and a wisp of dust trails from inside the skull. Mortai? With a rasp, the death's head speaks, dust steaming from its teeth. Sign, but remember, everything has its price. And what can change the nature of a man? The words are ragged, dead chorus, as if being spoken by 5, 10, 20, 100 voices. Old, young, female, male, desperate, calm, hysterical. Nature of a man? As you speak the words, suddenly you feel faint, and the next thing you hear is Mortai's voice, normal, and his hand upon your shoulder. Sir, are you all right? He laughs uneasily. I thought I'd lost you for a moment. Try and get your bearings. It is as if time has exhaled and resumed its natural breathing. The rest of the bar has returned to normal, and Mortai's face is no longer a death's head. You feel a strange pressure inside your skull, as if something desperately wishes to surface but cannot. The experience with the death's head that spoke dust. It was as if you remembered a dozen splinters of memory at once, all stabbing into each other to create an image. And you know somehow that every voice the death's head spoke belonged to someone, now long dead. Just give me a moment. I'll be fine. Mortai removes his hand from your shoulder. He looks uneasy, more at the prospect of losing a customer than any concern for your welfare. As you stare at the dusty parchment upon the table, you know for a fact that this is not the first time you have penned your name to a contract, and perhaps not the first time you've signed one such as this. Finish signing the contract. You scratch an X across the mark in the 3 places Mortai indicated. As you finish making the last mark, Mortai's hands lash out like 2 whips. The left hand sprinkles dust across the parchment to help the ink dry, and his right hand flicks a stream of coppers into your hands, 50 in all. Our business is concluded. Farewell. Mortai nods as you turn to leave. He has a strange expression on his face. Is there something wrong? Mortai frowns. Forgive me, I must ask again. Are you sure? No. No, farewell. Yes, farewell, farewell. Alright. Awaiting death. Before you is a young dustman with stubble on his chin and dark circles beneath his eyes. He is staring at the wall with a somber expression. Greetings. The dustman doesn't look up. He stares straight ahead as if he is seeing something several leagues beyond the walls of the bar. Can I ask you some questions? The dustman doesn't respond. He keeps staring off into the distance. Alrighty then. Mort hisses at you. Let's go, Chief. This dusting might as well be fertilizer. Fair enough. Let's get out of here. As you turn to leave, the dustman suddenly speaks, his voice barely a murmur. You have to strain to hear the words. You think he said something about a contract. What did you say? Dustman turns to you, his face like stone, his eyes dead. Why did you sign that dead contract? Well, considering that Death and I aren't on speaking terms anymore, I considered it a no-lose proposition. He looks at you with odd expression. What do you mean? I don't know. I've yet to see what lies beyond death and remember it. If I die again, perhaps, then I could speak of it. The dustman blinks and sneers. You lie. No man can die more than once, not without being resurrected by mighty magics. Would you like to see? What do you mean? He looks like he wants to turn away, but he cannot. You can't seriously. Take your hands, twist your neck. Your vision slowly returns. Your death felt different this time. You see a waiting death standing above you. He looks horrified and fascinated. He has propped you into a chair and is looking apprehensively at the other bar patrons. They don't appear to have noticed or have mistaken you for a drunk. Convinced now? Are you one of the Walking Dead? No. Then what are you? I don't know, but I die and I am reborn. Yet, you still think, you still feel? Yes, but there is a hollowness. Something is missing and it eats at you, never leaves you at peace. To be dead and still think and feel? Will misery never leave a body be? The thought seems to horrify him. Even death is no release. Indeed. Perhaps you should not be so quick to abandon this life before knowing what the next life holds for you. Wait, did we even talk about him wanting to die? The boy falls silent, thinking. Eventually turns back up to you. Your words carry weight, sir. In a fresh perspective. I will do as you've said. What exactly have I said to him? That is all I ask. Live, grow old, and learn. Farewell. Okay. There was a lot more to that conversation, I feel, but whatever. Forget it. Huh. Okay, I'm gonna talk to Emmerich. Oh wait, Old Copper Eyes? Before you is a tall, silent figure. He could easily pass for a statue, although the deep furrows in his face and brow make you wonder if the sculptor was a little too eager in defining the face with a chisel. He looks well over 50 years old, but exactly how much over 50, it's hard to tell. As he slowly turns to look at you, you catch the dull sheen of copper in his eyes. Greetings. Old Copper Eyes stares at you. His eyes are difficult to make out past the black wool of his eye sockets, but they look like they have a copper sheen about them. I'm looking to sign the dead contracts. Copper Eyes makes the barest of nods and slowly reaches into the dustman robes with both hands. With his left hand, he pulls forth a small bag of human skin. With his right hand, he draws forth a piece of parchment folded around a finger-bun pen. The bag and the parchment are slowly laid on the table in front of you. Sign the parchment? As you finish signing, Copper Eyes nods at the bag to his left. As he does, the contract parchment vanishes from the table and folds and disappears into the folds of his robe. I have some other questions to ask. He says nothing. Farewell. Okay, well, I guess he didn't notice me sign the contract with old Mortai. I'm fine with that. Just give me your money. Give me your money. You see a heavy-set man with dark skin and grim features. He is dressed in dustman robes and is regarding you with a stony gaze. Greetings. You have the look of a lost one. The man's voice is like stone settling. Did the wind send you, or are you here with purpose? Who are you? I am Emmerich, factotum and initiate of the Fourth Circle. Is this your bar? If you measure ownership in copper, this is not my establishment. If you measure ownership in spirit, it is mine. He pauses as if trying to emphasize a point. The dustmen here are my students. They are under my protection. Can I ask you some questions? Emmerich waits. Can you tell me about the Dustmen faction? Dustmen seek the true death. Some call it oblivion, but this is incorrect. To Dustmen, the true death is freedom from the chains of this false life. False life? This life that many cling to with their emotions is a false existence. As long as one clings to it, they will continually be reborn into it. One must divest themselves of emotion to escape this cycle. I see. Can you tell me about how your faction is organized? Dustmen are organized into 5 circles. The 5th circle is made of the lowest rank of Dustmen, initiates. The 1st circle is comprised of the highest ranking Dustmen, the ruling body of our faction. Other questions? Can you tell me about the dead contracts? Do you wish to sign the dead contract? Yes, I'll sign. Emmerich pulls forth a dusty piece of parchment from his robe and a quill pen. He directs you to sign the parchment in 3 places. Sign in the places indicated. You take the you take the quill in your hand and you begin to scratch your signature into the parchment. The quill pen makes a strange scritching noise as it touches the parchment, like it chisels stone. Continue signing. As you try to sign the parchment, however, you notice that it seems to be impervious to your pen. No matter how hard you try, you can't seem to pen your name. The ink doesn't want to leave your pen. Emmerich, what's with this contract? When you glance up to speak with Emmerich, you see that his face has turned to stone. He has become a statue. The rest of the bar seems to have filled with gray haze, and you can no longer make out the rest of the patrons. A faint whisper comes from Emmerich's mouth, as if the stone lungs were trying to force a breath from his chest. Emmerich? You can barely make out the whisper coming from Emmerich's stone lips, but you realize that is not one but many whispers. Sigh. But no, wait. Oh, that's exactly the same as what I read before. Excuse me, my bad. Okay. Even though you signed both Mortai and Copperhead's contracts, finish signing Emmerich's contract anyway. You scratch an X across the contract in 3 places Emmerich indicated. As you finish, Emmerich takes the contract and hands you back 50 coppers. Now that is out of the way, and other questions. Emmerich waits. Okay, a bunch of free XP in here. I'm in search of my journal. These eyes have seen no journal. Perhaps your search will take you elsewhere. Very well, I had some other questions for you. I am searching for a man named Farod. Have you seen him? I would know why you seek the collector Farod. Collector? Collectors gather the dead and bring them to us. I would know why you seek this collector. Stole something from me. Emmerich remains silent. His gaze is unnerving, but he doesn't seem to blink. Why do you want to know my business with Farod? The collector Farod has brought many corpses to the mortuary of late. One must ask where these bodies are from. Tell me more about the bodies. Some are recent dead. They still have their last moments in their eyes. Many more bodies are centuries dead. The dust of ages lie upon their bones. One must ask where these bodies are from. Perhaps I could find out where these bodies are from. How would you do such a thing? I would track down Farod and ask him. If you spoke with the collector Farod and returned with his answers, you will have done a great service for the Dustmen. Find where the dead he brings to us are from, and you will be rewarded. Very well, I will find Farod, speak to him, and find out where the dead bodies he brings you are from. Emmerich nods. Your path is our path. Return here when you have the collector Farod's answers. Can you tell me where he is? It is not known to me where the collector Farod is. He hides from the eyes of the Dustmen. I would seek other collectors and ask them your question. Very well, I had some other questions. Alrighty. Did I talk to Narok? You see a spindle-thin Dustman in dirty black robes. His stiff black hair springs forth from his skull like a crown of spikes, and his leper-white skin is drawn sharply across his skull. He is frowning into his drink and mumbling to himself. Greetings. The Dustman looks up, blinks once, then looks down looks you up and down, studying you. As he studies you, he takes one of his spiked locks and points at himself with it. Norok, initiate, Dustman, guard. I'm here about the posting outside. The Dustman looks you up and down. Many troubles have I. Help can you. A mausoleum awakens, the dead walk, the dead disturbed, the Dustman disturbed. Find out what disturbs the undead, and copper coins will I pay. Very well, where is the mausoleum?
Updated my journal.
Narok nods. Mausoleum by Dustman Memorial. Go north and west from Black Monument. Go to arch and a semicircle over your heart with this finger, this make. He wiggles the index finger to his right hand. To the mausoleum, go you will. I'll look into it then. Farewell. Okay. Take a little look, close look here to see if there's anyone else to talk to. Okay, I believe that's everyone. And I'm going to make the cut here, y'all. Thank you so much for watching. This is Rolls and Rockets. Have a wonderful time. Bye-bye.